angels, and welcome back to my channel. So I thought of starting a new kind of series of makeup tutorials, and they will be one branded makeup tutorials. And I know there are certain products from Soap & Glory which I love, so I wanted to do a whole tutorial using their products. So if you would like to see how I got this makeup look and my thoughts, then please keep watching. So this tutorial didn't start off as planned. I went in with the moisturizer, then primer, and then I decided to try some of their new kind of correcting and blurring products. So once I had twisted them up all the way, I wasn't too pleased that they didn't have that much product in them. But I still went ahead and kind of put the color correctors on, and then I went in with the foundation, which is the One Heck of a Blot foundation. But as soon as I started to kind of buff this into my skin, the foundation was just coming off. So I had to start all over again, which wasn't a good start. So this time around, I went in with the Speed Plump All Day Moisturizer, and then on top, I just went in with the One Heck of a Blot primer. And this primer I actually quite like. It's a very good primer that kind of doesn't make your makeup last a heck of a lot longer, but I definitely see a difference when I do use this. And then to avoid a slippery mess on my face, I just went straight in with the One Heck of a Blot foundation in the shade Happy Medium. I believe that this is the darkest shade that they do. I'm not too sure. I wasn't too sure about this foundation when I put it on at first, but when I had this on for the whole day, I was quite impressed because it did keep me staying quite matte. Then I went in with the Trick and Treatment. This is supposed to be a neutralizer kind of color corrector for the under eyes. However, I think it's a bit of just like a brightening concealer rather than anything like that counteracts any kind of purple tones underneath your eyes. So once I had done that and blended that all out, I wanted to take a concealer. So I wanted to actually use the Kick-Ass Crayon concealer. Here you can see how much product is in there, but I actually went with a very, very old goodie favorite of mine, which is the cream version. So I took the lightest shade and I simply just patted this on my under eyes using my beauty blender. And I remember I used to use this years ago and I used to love it. It is actually a really good concealer. So I'm just putting this on the other high points of my face. You guys know the drill by now, just the usual areas to kind of brighten up the center of my face. Then again, I went in with another favorite of mine, as you guys have probably seen this a heck of a lot on my channel, and that is the Kick-Ass powder. And this has got a yellow tone to it, so it not only like sets everything in place, but it also brightens as well, which I really like. I love that highlighted and contoured look. For contouring, I use the Solar Powder Bronzer and Highlighter. And I really like the bronzing shade of this. I think it's a very nice everyday color, but I'm not too sure about the brightening kind of highlighting side of it. And this eater brush was really annoying me, so I had to change over to the other one because it sheds like crazy. So I'm just putting this on the usual places that I like to bronze up my face. So in my contours, so hollows of my cheeks, around my jawline, hairline, and I believe I also did the sides of my nose ever so slightly as well. And as always, once I've done all my kind of bronzing, I just go ahead and make sure that there are no harsh lines. Moving on to eyes, I primed them with It's About Prime, and I was pleasantly surprised by this. My eyeshadow lasted a very long time, it didn't crease, and I feel like this is quite a hidden gem in the drugstore, kind of, especially here in the UK, because I find it quite hard to find a really good eyeshadow primer in like Boots and Superdrug. So this one I was really impressed with. And then for eyeshadows, I went in with the Perfect 10 eyeshadow palette. Now the colors in this are gorgeous. It comes with a little brush as well, but I don't really use them, so I went in with my normal brushes, and I went in with this shade here, and it is very nice on the palette, but it takes a long time to build up the color. So I've tried to keep as many clips as possible in this section so you can see how long it took to actually build that color up. I reckon if I used some Fix Plus spray or something like that on the brush, it would definitely help with the intensity of these eyeshadows. But I feel like a lot of the colors on here have really inconsistent consistencies, if that makes sense. So some of them are a bit more pigmented than others, but I think it makes a really cute gift because it's a really nice palette with nice eyeshadows in there. Then I took this third shade here to use as my transition shade. It didn't have a very nice kind of warm, neutral kind of matte brown shade as I like to use in the transition shade, so I did struggle with that a little bit. But here I'm just blending that in to my crease. And then to add some depth to the eyes, I actually took this second to last shade and worked that in on the outer corners of my eyes. Again, this one wasn't as pigmented, but you can see me kind of like building the colour up. And I actually quite liked this eyeshadow look in the end. But once I had got both of the eyes looking as normal as possible, I did go in with a highlight shade. I was actually going to use like a highlighter, but then I decided to go in with the really matte shade in this palette. So it's actually the first shade in the palette, which I will be picking up right now. So I got this, I believe it's called Vanilla, and I'm going ahead and putting this on my brow bone. So here you can see this eyeshadow is actually really pigmented. So that's what I mean about there being some sort of inconsistencies in like the texture and finish of these. So once I was happy with the eyes, I went in with my brows. You guys know I love the Archery pencil. I'm using the spoolie end to just run it through the eyebrow hairs to make sure that they're all going in the right direction that I want them to be in. And then I just built my brows up and just kind of used small strokes to thicken them up and slightly fill in the areas which I'm not blessed with eyebrow hairs, if you know what I mean. So I'm just going ahead and slowly building the brows up until I am happy with the shape of them. I feel like there's certain ranges within the Soap and Glory range which I prefer more than their other bits. I know they do eyeshadow quads, which lots of people rave about, so maybe it's just this palette which may not be as good as the quads, but I definitely want to try some of the quads out to see whether or not they are good and whether I would recommend them. So here I'm just finishing off the brows, and once I was happy with the way that they were looking, I went through the spoolie end to make sure all the product is evenly distributed. Next up, I set them with this Archery VOLU-BOOST Fibre Gel, and I kid you not, you guys, this is basically the same thing as the Benefit Archery. The colour is slightly warm on me, but it does the trick. It's got like the little fibres in there, exactly like the Benefit one. For eyeliner, I use the SUPERCAR eyeliner. This is an actual favourite of mine. I actually quite like this. I use this quite a lot, especially on the days where I just want a really kind of messy, not so perfect line all on top of my lash line. But this, you can do a wing with it as well. The nib of it is quite thick, so if you're not used to using quite thick pens, then you might want to stay away from this one. But I personally really like it, and it's got a really nice kind of matte finish to it as well. So it seems like a lot of the eye and brow products I seem to like. But once I was done with the winged eyeliner, I made sure that both of the eyes were as even as possible. And then I decided to line my upper waterline. So for that, I used the SMOULDER Kohl Black Gel eyeliner pencil, and I actually really like this. It's a very, very creamy, it glides onto your eyes really well, and it stays for a long time as well. I love gel eyeliner pens. I think they're amazing, and it's so nice to know that there's a good one out there on the drugstores. So taking this shade again, I'm just diffusing this and kind of smoking out my lower lash line ever so slightly, just so that the top and lower part of my eyeshadows and eyes are just nice and evened out, because the last thing you want is like a really nice eyelid, but then like no eyeshadow on your lower lash line. I just like balancing it all out. For mascara, I used these thick and fast mascara. I thought this would be a really, really good mascara that would really lengthen and volumize my lashes, but I felt like it lengthened them more than it volumized them. I guess I'm just really used to using my favorite kind of like L'Oreal and Maybelline mascaras. I tend to not really like any of the other drugstore mascaras out there. Apart from Bourjois, I think they do some really good mascaras. So I'm just doing a good 2 or 3 layers of this on my top lashes. And then, as always, I did also go ahead and add a couple of lashes, a couple of layers on my lower lashes as well, to make sure everything is evened out. So after this, I was going to add some falsies, but then I thought there's no point adding falsies because I wanted you guys to see exactly what these products are like all together. I then moved on to cheeks, and I was using this Peach Party blush and highlight. I actually really like all of the blushes that Soap & Glory do. I think they're so beautiful. I love that they're shimmery as well, because it means that you don't really have to put too much highlight powder or anything like that on top, and they are really nice and pigmented as well, and I think these colours look amazing during the summer. I decided to add some of the Hocus Focus onto the high points of my face as a highlighter. Now this is again an oldie but a goodie and favourite of mine. I used to use this years and years and years ago. It is basically a dupe for the MAC strobe cream. It is beautiful. I know they also do like highlighter sticks, but I couldn't find mine, so I didn't include it in this video. Then I used this Sexy Motherpecker matte lip, but I was so disappointed in the amount of product that you get. I totally do not think it's worth the money, but saying that, the formulation and the kind of pigmentation of these are really beautiful. So Soap & Glory, if you're listening, please increase the amount of product that you include in these. I layered 2 colors together, so here I'm just layering the second color called Chocoberry, which is so up my street. I love these mauvey, purpley, plummy colors, you guys know that. And yeah, so this is the final makeup look using all Soap & Glory products. As you can probably tell from this video, there are certain products which I loved and really liked, but there are certain products that I would definitely avoid. Saying that, I still think Soap & Glory is a really good makeup brand. There are the key products in there that I use all the time and definitely like on a day-to-day basis. So I hope you guys found this video useful. If you guys have any other recommendations of Soap & Glory products that you like, I know I love their lipsticks, then leave them in the comments below, because sharing is caring after all. And that's all for now, you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!